I just want to talk to you, give you a little bit of advice on a couple of things that I've sort of been thinking about lately. I was talking to somebody yesterday afternoon, actually, about a lot of my family history, and I told them a hell of a lot of stuff about me. And in all of this, I've been thinking about this the next morning, and I've got a bit of advice to give you all. And that is, buy property when you're young, you know. I mean, all of you know, well, most of you know my situation here. You know, if you had asked me in 2009 if I'd end up with this place, you know, which was signed over, I think it was very late 2010, you know, I would have just said, nah, the bank will get this place. But negotiations and amongst family members and me agreeing to certain things and signing a whole bunch of stuff at lawyers, and here we are, you know, I've got this place here. And it's not grand, but for a single bloke it isn't bad at all, you know. And this person, I was telling them about the cost it costs to run this place. They told me that they got a bill for natural gas that covered about 3 months, and they were with a not very good gas provider. And this bill was the price that you could have bought an old car for. I'm not joking. I could not believe it. Let's just put it like this. What I spend... Okay, the bill was the same as my property taxes, and this bill was 3-month gas bill. That's not a joke. I could hardly believe it. But I've been thinking about a few different people, including some cousins of mine, one of whom is a couple of years off turning 40, and she's planning her 40th birthday, and she'll remain nameless, and nobody really on YouTube will know who she is. But she went to get a place, you know, to buy a place, and she's always been very spend, never saved anything. Thought she had to have proof of income. Didn't realise she had to have proof that she could save, and was hoping to get a, you know, personal loan to pay for the deposit or whatever, you know, she had to do. You know, and they rejected her for a mortgage. When I was 25 and a half, I realised my parents weren't going to live forever, and that I had to sort myself out one day, and the sooner I got into it, the better. So at age 25 and a half, I realised that. I found a place reasonably quickly, getting the stupid mortgage paperwork through. There was a bit of an internal argument amongst different levels of the bank branch, and basically they wanted to put it as a farm mortgage, where you need a lot more deposit than you do for an actual residential property. And long story short, 2 weeks before my 26th birthday, I signed off on that first property. And when I fixed this place up here, I was not on welfare ever when I fixed this up. And it took like a year and a half, you know, before I ended up, from when my uncle died to when I moved in. I had to clean it out, and then I had to fix it up, and then I ended up moving in. While my parents were away on holidays, I moved in and just sent them a text message saying, I'll fly on the nest now. Anyway, that money from selling that place is what helped me concentrate on fixing this up, you know. And I had a business for a short while that barely made me a cracker with the amount I spent in advertising. I think I don't know even know if I broke even or not. You know, but I also work casual, day labour and that sort of stuff, and here and there, and eventually moved into this place. Right near the start of winter, and that was a little experience. Anyways, they were hard old days. But anyway, I realised this stuff at age 25 and a half, and I've got another cousin she's either 35 or she's turning 35, lives in a very trendy area, but rents. She's in the capital, in a very renowned street of a very trendy area, tight little townhouses. She's getting rent cheaper than everybody else because the place was never built with a laundry, and here she is running a laundromat paying $5 a load for every load of washing she does. And I sort of sat there thinking, my gosh, why doesn't she get one of the washing machines like I've got that you can drain out into a sink or a shower base or whatever and refill with a garden hose? I'm actually intending to maybe buy one of those, just a very crappy camping one for a Christmas present or something like that. I think I can get it for about $80 or $100 for the very basic one that's just got the agitator. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't get stuck into buying property early, you can end up 40 years old or whatever, and you're still renting. And take it from some people mine than you. If you're renting when you're retired, the old age pension will cover your rent, and basically you'll be eating grass. You better start learning edible weeds, because you'll flippin' need to if you're still renting when you're retired, if you're only getting the old age pension. So that's just a bit of advice I thought I'd give you all, and I always believe that having a lower living standard with no debt, without being in the credit juggernaut debt cycle, is so much better, because if China collapses or whatever the hell happens with all that, I am assuming that by the time that happens, I'll have the mortgage paid out on this place, and then I'll be out of the credit cycle before the recession that we are likely to face, because we're so reliant on mining and sending it to China. But it's always good advice, even if you just start. So you don't have to buy the mansion that you intend to have when you're a squillionaire at 50 years of age now, because you won't be able to afford it now. But even just to start small, like I did, with 7.5 acres out in the middle of nowhere, out in the boonies, that's the way to go. Just to make a start at some place. It might be great, but it's land and it's your own if you can pay it off. If you can pay it cash because you've got some cheap tax sale place out in the middle of nowhere, some family found out grandma had an 1.5 acre block at Whoop Whoop that nobody wants in the world, that nobody even wants to have. And I have heard of people over here that have been willed property, and it's got no services connected, and they've just said it's useless, I don't want it, and they've just, like, this person was given the option of this as a very old person was writing out their will or adjusting their will, and they said, Dad, I don't even want it. They could have said, yes, Dad, I'll have it, and then sat on it, or just got it and then just resold it, made a bit of cash, but they literally said, Dad, I'm not interested. And I thought, you're going to be given land, but this is an on-grid person, an on-grid mentality. If it's got no services connected, it's worthless. Well, all land's worth something over here. Land over here is astronomically priced. But, if you can get something, if you're in the States and you can get something for peanuts, it's a start, It's, but what I'm trying to say is, just get into all this stuff young, not leave it too late, because with property prices the way they are here, too late means you'll never get there. You start thinking about this when you're 38, it's too late. You know, you'll never pay it off before you retire, and then you'll have a mortgage that you couldn't pay on the old age pension. Or if you don't get into it early, you'll be stuck renting on the old age pension, which is a pretty crap life, I've been told by my grandmother, whose friends fell into that, but she didn't. So there you go, it's just something I wanted to tell you all.